And so I'll get started today and share with you some of the work we did on this impinging jet, as Peter mentioned. Okay, so at the time that I began working on this chemistry, there had been two sort of processes that led to prior deliveries in the 20-gram range. There's this Gen 1 process here, which produced a high level of that dimer impurity, about 15%, and so that necessitated some additional purification techniques, certainly not ideal. And so a Gen 2 process was developed, and that produced 0.1 to 1% dimer impurity, definitely in the targeted impurity range, but not a scalable process. And I'll share with you some details about why that is in just a moment, but suffice it to say that for some of the upcoming deliveries that we were looking at, those were on the order of 100 grams to 10 kilos, we needed a Gen 3 process. We needed something that was going to be scalable and deliver some of those quantities for us. And then, of course, that comes with an associated timeline. So here's where I was back in May, almost 2 years ago, and then looking on the horizon just a few months away, 100 grams, then a kilo, and then 10 kilos. I will point out is there's a significant amount of water. You'll notice that a lot of these reagents contain water, and the quench tank here contains water, and this was actually a necessary part of the process and not easily adapted to alternate addition modes like a single addition. There's another concern here as well, which I'll get into shortly, which is that acryloyl chloride is unstable in the presence of water. So there were a lot of concerns in trying to change the addition mode, although we definitely did think about it, and we can talk about that more in the Q&A if you like. As I mentioned, it's an incredibly rapid reaction, greater than 99% complete in less than a second. Also, the product crystallizes in the reaction mixture, as I mentioned, but we were concerned that in any kind of flow regime, you could imagine the product crystallizing in the outlet. Impinging jets are very tolerant of that. In this case, the driving force is pretty significant. The supersaturation ratio is about 6 to 7. Not really ideal for a controlled crystallization, but it actually worked perfectly fine in this case. This reaction has a minimal exotherm, so we didn't have to worry too much about any temperature concerns. The product was stable in that reaction, the post-reaction quench tank for days. And the impinging jet was nicely scalable by parameters such as velocity, Reynolds number, and residence time. You're going to see very fast reaction times. And down here in the lower left, it's going to be much slower. So that was definitely one piece of it, is how long does it take to get to 100 ppm. But then, of course, the other piece is this safety window, and that's at 2.2 equivalents of the Triton B reagent and 35 degrees, and that's what we selected. So that provides kind of a nice balance between approximately 12 hours reaction time there and approximately 12 hours safety window. We felt that was pretty sufficient, and allowed for a little bit of manufacturing variation as well. We wanted to just understand how to convert that data set into hydrolysis rates. And the main purpose of this particular one was just in the case of a spill or a leak. I mean, when we're going to be flowing this acryloyl chloride to generate, to generate the product. I mean, what happens in the event of a spill or a leak? If we add water, how long is it going to take before this is going to become safe? And so we did a fitting exercise with Dynochem, and I'll share with you some more details how I did that in a moment. The dimer impurity was well controlled by using an impinging jet. We leveraged, in many cases, fit-for-purpose kinetic modeling, so not necessarily looking for the perfect answer, but looking for a set of conditions that would work to get us forward. I didn't share the chloro results for you, but the conditions that we used to reduce the chloro impurity also worked on every scale that we tested. We gained a significant amount of process understanding and were able to execute multiple deliveries of this at the 10, up to the 10 kilo scale. And although the timeline I mentioned was over the course of 3 to 4 months, the combined amount of effort that I've shown you here is only about 4 to 5 hours.